tuned in to ReadYO Radio. That's ReadYO Radio on UrbanNationRadio.com. One of your co-hosts of the radio show, talk show, Mindful B.
Kojo Lee.
Info Keith.
It's episode 43, so we're going to just jump right into it. The title is State of Emergency, and as everyone knows, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, United States and Detroit, United States, and even globally. And so, as we know, what started our show is talking about emergency preparedness and giving strategies and tools for preparing yourself in all the different ways that emergencies show up financially, physically, defending yourself, being preemptive and, be preventative and living a sustainable life. And there's been some, we want to start off with a couple current events that are going on and really that is really relevant to where this nation is really moving, and that's why we have the title State of Emergency. So we're going to be talking about Ferguson. You recently issued a state of emergency. We're talking about the Sandra Bland case. We haven't been able to talk about that for a while, so we're going to definitely make sure that doesn't go unsaid. And then really bring up some of the specifics of what happens and what does it mean, state of emergency? What does that mean when your city is declared or your town is declared or your area is declared state of emergency? What does that look like for those involved? And what are some strategies that you can do in that type of situation that's becoming more and more happening more and more frequently in this time? So we're going to kick it right over to our good brother Kojo Lee to tell us more about why we're doing this show.
Well, truth be told, I was just brought aware to what was going on in Ferguson, and so it brings us to being prepared and knowing what's going on and understanding what the state of emergency is about. Because if you're not in tune with what's going on, you could be part of it could be much worse. And so this week is about again, like we said, catching up to some of the Sandra Bland scenario and understanding how that may play into maybe a future state of emergency. And I'm just looking at our advertisement today. It reads, what happens when you're a prisoner in your own home, your own town? This is exactly what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri right now. For people of color and to people of color all over the United States of America. As many of you know, there was a state of emergency issued yesterday on the anniversary of the tragic Michael Brown murder by police. What is a state of emergency? What is our plan of action to combat our situation? Also, the ReadYO Radio team will discuss the murder of Sandra Bland, and as well as other activists that have been murdered in police custody. And so, again, this show is just looking into where we are right now and really looking into some solutions and what we can do, what have we been doing, and really reflect on the fact that in some regard I feel we have not been killed at the rate we may have once were, but now you consider prison, you consider the police starting to ramp up shootings, because shootings actually have been going down for a while. And so now that we're in a time where police are killing us much more fast, we're really in a state of emergency. It may not seem like a day-to-day. We're not having our streets barricaded, but we live in a current state of turbulence where we have to come up with some solutions. So this is what this show today is about.
And without any further ado, we're gonna kind of kick it over to Info Keith to talk about the current event that we just mentioned, which is the state of emergency in Ferguson.
Yeah, so they just recently issued a state of emergency, as we have previously stated, and have the definition here of a state of emergency. And it's a situation of national danger or disaster in which a government suspends normal constitutional procedures in order to regain control. So in that definition is a lot. So I'll just reread it one more time, and then I want to pull out some key words in that definition. So a state of emergency is a situation of national danger or disaster in which government suspends normal constitutional procedures in order to regain control. The first word I want to pull out of that is danger or disaster, and who was in danger and what was the disaster. The next word is the next phrase is suspends normal constitutional procedures. And I actually just had a discussion with somebody earlier who I told them that the Constitution allows for slavery, and they disagreed. They said, the 13th and 14th Amendment, and then I proceeded to show them the 13th Amendment where it says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as a punishment for a crime whereby the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or place subject to their jurisdiction. And so the key word in that is except. And then when we look at our high imprisonment rates, which is like 1 million, and it's only 14 million of us over here, so that's slavery.
And that's not even counting all the people that have
right.
Records and that are on parole or on have been in prison.
Mm-hmm. And hence, that's why we included a prisoner in your own hometown, because it's like if you have warrants and if you're on parole or if you can't afford to have insurance, then you stuck. Like you wouldn't want to travel outside of your own hometown for fear of being pulled over or being found in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then you could potentially become another hashtag like Sandra Bland or Mike Brown.
And then we talk about being able to defend yourself. Felons can't have weapons,
right,
or guns.
Which is another point that I brought to him too, is that the Constitution states you have a right to bear arms, but if you have a felony, then you can't bear arms. So, does the Constitution really apply to you? And in my opinion, it doesn't, because another thing that it says too in this 13th Amendment is shall be duly convicted, meaning you are tried by a jury of your peers, and I have yet to see a jury of my peers in any of these cases.
True.
I mean, for real, like even when I went to jury duty, it was a black male suspect who supposedly had a gun, and then on the trial, I actually got pulled to go on the juror panel, and I was the only African American male, of course, and everybody else was white, and then they dismissed me. So it's like, would he have a fair trial? And that's not his peers. I was the only one who could be considered his peer because I'm in the same age range. I live in the same city. We, have similar circumstances. So for them to dismiss me out of everybody else, I mean, that just goes to show. And also, too, they were saying that 96% of prosecutors are white male. So it's like, it ultimately falls in their hands. So that's another reason why a lot of these police officers get off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got a lot of statistics too from Ferguson, which is in a state of emergency, and in my estimation, they were in a state of emergency before they even declared a state of emergency. And when you hear these statistics, you'll see why I say that. And so Ferguson has a population of 21,000 people. That's total, including infants, including elderly, every person. 16,000 out of 21,000 have outstanding warrants for arrest. So it's like, that's a ridiculous amount. And then I did the math, and that's 76% of the population has a warrant for their arrest. So, which means you have, every 3 out of 4 people that you pull over could potentially go to jail. So it's like you could basically lock up the whole community. And they also get 16% of the city's budget comes directly from traffic violations, tickets, and that kind of stuff. And they even they highlighted one lady who had got 2 tickets because she was on a fixed income single mother raising 3 children, and she bought a car for $500, but she didn't have the money to get the insurance and the registration and stuff. So she got the car and she parked it in her driveway, and then they came up and wrote her 2 tickets for not having registration or insurance. But it's like she's not even driving the car, and so she didn't pay the fine for the ticket or whatever because she felt that it was unjust, and then they suspended her license. So now she has a warrant out for her arrest and could potentially go to jail, and she wasn't even doing anything. And that's what happens when one, you have revenue generation from tickets, and there's incentives to criminalize the public. If you get money, you set these ticket quotas, then it's an incentive for you to write more tickets and to criminalize the people, even if it's no crime being committed. And even in the definition of crime is it's only a crime if you physically harm somebody else, or if you physically harm somebody. So all of this stuff that we consider crime is not even crime.
Another thing that is often not looked at is the influx of people that go into Ferguson or where Baltimore or whatever the place, or even Detroit or whatever the place that's popular at the time, without a plan of action, or just to get arrested. And that money, like you said, is literally accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are counting on people getting arrested, and there's no usually, and there's maybe some newer developments, and I would love to see more bail funds and things of that nature. But usually that's something that's not set up. It's not organized or planned and strategized in a way that if you just go down there, you are kind of just gambling with your life,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you have anything outstanding. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't go and protest and do what they feel they need to do. I'm just saying that it's feeding without a plan and a strategy and a tactical. If this happens, we do this. This happens, we do this. Without a plan and a strategy, these things really only fuel the fire that's consuming us. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an important piece. And we can definitely, if we even get into the what is a warrant and what are all these things really, that's a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
episode when we start getting into the law and looking at how our current system is based off of lawyers speaking in Black's Law Dictionary talk, and these words mean different things.
Mm-hmm.
On a ticket on a ticket in Detroit, it'll say when you call in, it'll say this phone line uses the word citation in place of ticket. But I'm just that nuance in there. But these things mean different. They mean different things, and so we're ignorant of how to even just not paying a ticket. Like I fell prey to this myself. Not paying a ticket just because it was BS or whatever. It's not the way to deal with the situation, because it's only going to result in them putting they count on that. They're like, okay, people think that they're just and all these other things, but what are the strategies that one needs to deploy to be able to combat these situations? And that's one of the things that we want to talk about today.
Well, I know we're not really going to get into the law stuff, but just so we understand what we're really saying here is that 75% of Ferguson potentially can go to jail at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the 13th Amendment says when you go to jail, you become a slave. So legally, they're saying at any given moment, we can take 75% of the people in the city and make them slaves again. And then so we got to understand that it's important to know law language, which is totally different than how we speak. And even I'll backtrack. Even learn how you speak, because a lot of us use these words we can read, but we really don't know what we're reading. So if you can start understanding what words mean, you'll start getting an understanding that depending on where you are, the word could change, because that's how words really work.
Yeah, and another thing, like, and the reason why we included people of color in the description, because around 70% of Ferguson is African American or considered African American, but 96% of the people arrested for outstanding warrants were black. So it's like 96% of the people, coupled with the 76% of people with outstanding warrants, is like, you know, that's a huge number of people that they could potentially put into slavery or servitude, because, you know, the 13th Amendment only applies to people that are not being convicted of a crime. And then the last statistic is 2,300 new warrants have been issued in 2015, and the population is only 21,000. So it's like, you know, that's like 10% of the population that they just issue new warrants for. So it's getting ridiculous.
But before we go to commercial too, we got to realize that history shows that they do whatever they want when they change the rules up real quick. Like when World War II happened, they took all the Japanese and put them in. There wasn't no rule anywhere. They just did it, and that's what happens when you say again. We're talking about suspending constitutional rights. All that means is we're about to do whatever we want to do.
And we're going to get into some of the a couple of the really important executive orders. It's really important that everybody understand what executive orders are already on the books, and that's something that's really important, because you won't be in confusion about what plans are already being put in place against you and for certain scenarios. And so with that being said, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. As you know, this is ReadYO Radio, so we playing conscious music. So you're about to listen to King Chi, State of War, and listen to the lyrics, digest it, and we'll be right back with more ReadYO Radio, State of Emergency. Peace.
Fire and blood on the streets of Ferguson, Missouri, exactly 1 year after the death of Michael Brown. Just after 11 Sunday night, interim police chief Andre Anderson was in the middle of an interview.
We just want to be as patient as possible.
Message to those who are looting. Plainclothes detectives tracked the alleged shooter. The hood and windshield of their van peppered with bullets. Eventually, they cornered 18-year-old Tyrone Harris, described as a close friend of Brown, behind a building.
There were 4 officers who were in that van. All 4 fired at the suspect, and the suspect
fell there. A bystander captured this dramatic video.
Hey, he bleeding. Get him some help, man. Please get him some help.
Harris's aunt told CNN he wasn't carrying a gun and was running from the gunfire.
He's still alive. Get him some help. Now. Get him some help now.
As word of the shooting spread, the crowd grew increasingly angry.
We ready for what?
Police and protesters faced off. Bricks and bottles flew. Police fired tear gas and smoke bombs in return.
Who shut down? He shut down.
Some businesses were damaged. A journalist attacked and robbed. 3 police officers were injured, 1 hit in the face by a brick. It was the third of 4 shootings in Ferguson. Earlier Sunday, police responded to a man who was shot in the arm. Later, a minor incident not involving police, a man shot in the foot. More serious, 2:15 Monday morning, 2 young men walking in the spot where Michael Brown died, shot in the chest by someone in a red sweatshirt. Their injuries reportedly not life-threatening. All this around a day of mostly peaceful protests. Now police are once again calling for calm and the public's help.
We can't do it by ourselves. We have to have the community out here helping us, working with us to identify this and to make this stop.
Pray for blood, black for people. Pray for the land, pray for the blood, black for people. Pray for the land, pray for the blood, black for people. Pray for the land, all powerful people fighting before. United we stand, pray for the blood, black for the people. And pray for the land, pray for the blood, black for people. And pray for the land, pray for the blood, black for people. And pray for the land. Got my fists out high, yelling out black power. Make sure they understand. Welcome to my world, this restricted, super confidential. Caught up in this brainstorm, about to make it rain to rachel. Major quantities, melanation essence so essential. Heavy is the head that holds the crown. I'm feeling presidential royalty on my game shit. Shout out to Sacramento, God body, heavenly celestials, respect the rhythm. Gotta give my all, yes, until there's nothing left to give. And all they say they poison on the radio, they feed your children. No, it's brick, the foundation, and I'm building something great before our people stop. Tune in and just listen, feel the power from the vocals that I give you. With crescendos, change the tempo. The movement is in motion, monumental, legendary status. I be kicking knowledge like it's tempo. Classes and sectionists between the instrumental, they can stop us from ascending this. Bread for blood, blacks for people. Drink for the land, bread for blood, blacks for people. Drink for the land, bread for blood, blacks for people. Drink for the land, all power to the people. Fight and fall, united we stand. Bread for
Peace and power. We're back live with ReadYO Radio. That's ReadYO Radio on UrbanNationRadio.com. Thank y'all so much for bearing with us. We didn't get to show the song that we wanted to show, but you got to see the video, one of the videos of Ferguson, correct?
Yeah, it's actually what's going on right now, and as you see, those protests are a lot different than the protests in the 70s and the 60s. These people are, they're shouting, "We're ready for war." They saying "fist up, fight back" instead of "hands up, don't shoot." So it's like they have the right spirit and the right idea, but the thing I believe they lack is the proper plan of action. A lot of what they're demonstrating is just emotional, it's emotionally charged, but it lacks discipline and it lacks organization, because they don't have that I've seen, they don't have a plan in place in case someone gets arrested